3. What it is to be spiritual. The word spirituality has as its root spirit. The spirit refers to the part of the human being that is not physical. Instead, the spirit is the soul part of the human being, enlivening the body, connected to the thinking process and connecting to God, either in a negative way or in a positive way. Nothing is exempt from connection to God the Creator. God gave the history of mankind in the book of Bereshit, from Hebrew, meaning in the beginning, also known as Genesis, in the Torah, Hebrew, meaning teaching. Bereshit is the first book of the 5 books of Moses. The sons of Noah, also known as Bnei Noah, Bnei in Hebrew means sons, including all the women and girls who descend from Noah, meaning all the world's inhabitants, must faithfully adhere to the 7 Noahide laws, except for Jewish people who must follow Jewish law, halakha. Jewish law, halakha, that must be kept by Jewish people is the entire 613 commandments in the Torah, the commandments given by God to the Jewish people at Mount Sinai, at the giving of the law, except for those laws that may not be kept, due to the fact that the holy Jewish temple in Jerusalem has not been restored as yet, at the time of writing. A further 7 rabbinic commandments have been added by our sages, to make 620 commandments in total, in the spirit of the Torah, and not against it. The sections of Bereshit dealing with Noah and his sons and their genealogy, including the parts relating to Adam and Eve, are the parts of the Torah that are permitted for Gentile, non-Jewish people, to study. Non-Jewish people's special link and connection to God can, and must be lovingly maintained by their faithful following of the 7 Noahide laws. The 7 Noahide laws were followed by Noah and his sons, and must be followed by authentic righteous Gentiles, all non-Jewish people, to this day, at the command of God, exactly as God established them through Noah and his family. God's covenant with Gentiles is symbolized by the rainbow, and is a promise by God, that he will refrain from flooding the world in its entirety as in the times of Noah. This covenant continues to be valid to this day. Thus Gentile, non-Jewish people, are not at liberty to discard, even one of the commandments as they please, but are thoroughly bound to faithfully follow all God's 7 Noahide laws. Noah is considered to be like the second Adam, because the flood that God brought to the world, for the sins of man, and the subsequent destruction of, almost all mankind and animal life through the flood, was followed by the renewal of the world. Human life was propagated by Noah and his family, and animal life was restored, by the propagation, on earth, of those animals saved in the ark that Noah built, at God's command. From Noah's family, all the human inhabitants of the world, and their countries, were established, in different settlement locations, to which they had been dispersed around the world, silently guided by God. The criteria for maintaining an authentic, healthy, relationship with God the Creator, is to acknowledge God, by following His commandments, and by communicating with God, with good deeds, and private, silent, whispered prayer. This is done, as best as can possibly be done, in the present age, as the prophecy that was known to be the authentic word of God, until just before the passing of the prophet Malachi, is no more. Good deeds are based on following the 7 Noahide laws. Communication with God is through prayer that is respectful, individual, and spoken in a barely audible whisper, which should not be audible to any other person in close proximity. Prayers are self-composed, need not be written, and may be completely different on each occasion. They are not regularly compulsory, and may be made when there is need, and when help is required. Thanks to God are also appropriate with each prayer. Prayer may not be made from the prayer books of any established religion, sect, or philosophy, nor from any newly formed religion, sect, or philosophy. Prayer may not be made in a place of worship for any other religion, sect, or philosophy. Prayer may be at home or in a person's clean room with washed hands, fully clothed or fully covered, with a clean sheet in case of emergency. God's special holy names may not be written, and may not be spoken, as this is forbidden to be done. It is best to use the name of God as is written in this book. Please do not think that using other names related to God, that are greater in holiness, will be beneficial, as that is not the case, and a person who does use those other names will be liable for punishment for using them without the proper knowledge and authority. In a whisper, inaudible to everyone except oneself, begin with, God, please. And end with, thank you, God. A non-Jewish person may say, Hashem, instead of God if they wish to. Hashem is the Hebrew word, meaning, the name, and is used in place of God's ineffable names, so that a person will not make a serious mistake, as it is forbidden to pronounce audibly, or inaudibly, God's ineffable name. The extent to which authentic spirituality is attained, and maintained by a person, is the extent to which a person's body, mind, heart and soul, continues to be validly connected with the Creator of all, God, in accordance with God's commandments, the 7 Noahide Laws for righteous Gentile, non-Jewish people, and the Holy Torah for Jewish people. The Torah is for Jews, and the 7 Noahide Laws are for non-Jews. These two cannot be transferred one to the other, and each should be followed faithfully, by their respective adherents, who are obligated in them, as they are each eternal laws, a recipe for valid living, moral and ethical laws, made by God the Creator, in accordance with God's separate demands for each group in His wisdom. To be spiritual, a person must be either non-Jewish, i.e. Gentile, having divested themselves from any religion they may have previously followed, and completely attach themselves to the 7 Noahide Laws, or be a Jewish person, and therefore must follow the Torah according to authentic Orthodox Judaism. All other ideologies are inauthentic, as what they teach about spirituality has no support in God's framework of ethics, and in God's framework in the freedom to choose to follow His morality and ethics. Although there is freedom to ignore the laws of God, the consequences of ignoring them are extremely severe, and not recommended, and so that path is vehemently decried. It cannot be overemphasized how important it is to believe and have faith in God alone, and to divest oneself from other religions or ideologies. A firm acknowledgement that the 7 Noahide Laws are the true word of God, as they were relayed to Noah and his sons, and that there is a constant beneficial need for them, and that they are the source of the most desirable life, are the necessary prerequisites to begin to fulfill the requirements of the morals and ethics of living a spiritually fulfilling life. Spirituality that does not conform to the morals and ethics promoted by the 7 Noahide Laws, does not enhance the potential of man in his life, as those spiritualities are not those that God, Creator of the universe, desires. Spirituality is not a cultural affirmation of historic music, nor of instruments, nor of culinary styles, nor of mannerisms, nor any attachment to a set of ideas that rely on fanciful thought, colorful images, nor exotic physical postures, clothing, styles, or particular mannerisms, nor on intoning mesmerizing sounds, nor on a particular unsubstantiated dietary trend, that has no basis in medicine. Spirituality is also not the practice of physical movements. Spirituality is a serious matter, and one must be very careful to avoid the pitfalls. Please see further in this book, regarding non-cruelty to animals, and the law to not consume the flesh and blood of a living animal, as this matter is one of the 7 Noahide Laws, and is related to the physical and spiritual health of humanity. Spirituality is a connection of a person's soul to its Creator God, by the conscious awareness and recognition of God's never-ending, non-physical, and all-powerful, limitless magnitude, and by obedience to God's holy precepts, either according to a person's non-Jewish origins, or according to a person's Jewish origins, by authentic Orthodox Jewish adherence, or by authentic Orthodox Jewish conversion. Holy means separate from, in an otherworldly sense, as it is unattainable for human beings to have unrestricted contact with God, as God's essence is unlike that of man. Spirituality in accordance to the Seven Noahide Laws for Gentile non-Jewish people is not optional, but a pressing obligation and requirement. For example, when summoned by the monarch of a country, for presentation before the king or queen, a person wants to be there at the appointed time, with time to spare, dressed respectably, and with the correct attitude, manners perfected, having made appropriate preparations, and often in trepidation and fear that all should go well, without any untoward occurrences to mar the great occasion. So too with God, but even more so. Here we are, each person having been benefited, with his or her body, with a living soul infused into it at birth by God. All events in a person's life have been especially individually arranged by God, in God's supernal knowledge of what is best for each of us, and those arrangements are enjoyed by each human being under normal circumstances. The exceptions are also in God's plan, but the reasons for them are unfathomable to us. In any event, we cannot ignore what has happened, and what is happening, to us. Do we dare be trendy at the expense of the truth? Is the behavior we exhibit when attaching oneself to a sect, cult or philosophy, belief or long-established faith, similar to simply going to a theme park? Do we dare ignore God, and choose an inauthentic spirituality that is spurned by God, perhaps even reveling in them, but feeling deep down inside as we do, that they are a little too exotic, and a little too trendy, and a little too uncomfortable, and a little too populist and a little too unexplored, and a little too insecure, and a little too unknown, and a little too assuming, and a little too scary, and a little too without basis, and a little too without authority, and a little too without logic? Perhaps the above use of a little too should be substituted with much too much. No, we dare not be so trendy, etc., we dare not follow them. Instead, we strengthen our relationship with God our Creator through the Seven Noahide Laws.